We walk in the room, heads turning around. We're the ones they talk about, never touch the ground. A little bit different, but we love the sound. Got the world in our hands and we're
Hello, you're welcome to our last class. In our last class, we talked about tables. So if this is the first time you're joining us on our YouTube channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification button so that you can watch more of our recent videos, which educational videos, which will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. Now, in our last class, we created tables. We created a table, and in this table, this was the data. This was where we wrote the HTML scripts, and he has the table header, the name, he has the age and the time, and also has the data, Amos tank, the table data is all written there. Now, in today's class, we'll be explaining on how you can also create a table by making all of the headings in a column. Now, it's in a row. If they are in a row, while the data are arranged in a column, but this time we are going to make a table where every of the table is going to be in a column and the data are going to be in a row. Now, I'm going to create another table. So let me just, for now, I'm going to use BR. Let me break it so that we'll have a new table here. So I'm just going to create a table, then I'll come down here and close the table. Now, in our previous class, we talked about after the table, we have the table row. Now, in the table row, we have what? The table what? Header. The table header, which is the name. So I'm going to close the table header now, which is the name. Now, just immediately after the table header, this way I'm going to put the table data. The table data are Desi Park. I'm going to close that now. And okay, Desi Mark, no, the first header was the first table data was Amos Tank. Amos Tank. After Amos Tank, that's where we have the Desi Mark. Just back. So I'm going to close that together that table data as well. Then I'll come down there and make this and say E. So I'm going to close the table row here. Then I'll come here, create another table row, take the other table header, which is what the age. Age. Now, after the age, I'm going to take the data. So what are the data? Data are CD 12 and 11. CD 11. Then close it. Then we also have another table header, which is what the time. So I'm creating these two tables. I'm creating these two tables so that you see the difference in. So it depends on the type of table that you want. So the table header now is time. So I'm going to close that. Now immediately after that, we'll take the data. Table data for the time is what? Okay. Okay. You didn't take time? Oh, let's see. Oh. I think there was a mix up in this table. So I'm just going to call this now. Let's leave this in Larry. This Larry here is supposed to be the age. Let's make this age 12. Let's make this one the time, which is what? 10. So that, okay, let's make this 10. and the time 11. So we are just going to correct it. So I'll say now, but just okay. Let me done first. So the time now, the time is 10. Age is what are the ages? 10 and 12. So I'm just gonna make this 10, 10 and 12. So the time now, what are the time? The time will take the time as 10 and 11. That's 10 and 11. So let's take this time here. It's a bit 10 and 11. 10, 11. So those are two good. So I'm going to save now. So after saving, I'll refresh. You can see now that we have the name, age, and time at the top here. While here we have the name, age, and time at the down here. The name is what? A Mustang. You can see the name A Mustang. The age of a Mustang is 10. The age of a Mustang here is so okay. Okay, there was a mix up there. And decimal like that. You see the time, you can see the time here. The time is the row at the down. The age is 10. The age is 10. Uh-huh. The time is at the down also. So you can see the time is 10, 11. Okay, I was supposed to use 10, 12, 10. I use 10, 12. So you can see that this is arranged, they are arranged differently. We have the name, time, age, and time in a row in each of the columns in the first table. Why this? You can see that the name, age, and the time, they are arranged in what? A column. Now, let's say, for example, now, let's add a caption to this table. Let's add a caption. So if we want to add a caption to the table now, or just write caption, caption, general, the data. Let me just use the data, and I'll close caption. Then let me add caption to this first table also. So I'm just trying to show you an example of two different tables, and so it all depends on the kind of display you want your table to have. So any of them that you want, you can use either of them. Either of them can do. Okay. That. So that's how you give your table a title. Give it a caption. So as you can see, we have that's the caption there. Now, for example, I decide to say, oh, the name, I want this name to have the names. A Mustang, I want the names to be different. They should be in individual column. I want them to be different. So what I will do is that I will have to collapse two of the rows together. So what I will do is now is that, so for that, I'll just come here. Maybe I want to collapse the two names. Now, instead of this Amos tank, I want here to be Amos. Maybe Amos as the first name, or Amos as the first name. Then I'll just delete tank. Amos as the first name and tank as the last name. So I'll just do this tank. Then that means I'm going to collapse two rows for the table. So I'm just going to write TH here. All right, full span equal to 2. Then I'll say. So since I already have 2 here, so let's say I'm still going to do that same thing here. So simply I'll say. So after saving, you're going to notice now that we are collapsing two columns together for the name. So it's going to have two different columns under the name. So that's where you can say, okay, this is the first name, this is the last name. So let's see, okay, let's refresh, let's see. Okay, the name. Now, if you notice now that the name, we have a Mustang, age, and we also have the time here. Let's see what happens that the time is outside here. Let's see. Euro. age 12, 10. Okay, now you notice that we have an additional 10. Okay, the 10 for the age left, and it's now at this other side. Let's see why we have that. VH span. Okay, you can notice, you will notice now that in this particular place, we didn't close the table data. So that's why we have that problem. So what we'll do now is that we have to close that table data. So remember that anytime you have an opening tag, when you are writing a table, you should also have a closing what tag. So that was the major reason we had that there. So I'm just going to refresh and you see that everything is working perfectly. That's fine. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is how you collapse two. So if you want to collapse three columns together, you want to collapse four columns together, you can do that with this same what method. So in this now we are moving to the next step, which is we're talking about now how we can create padding and spacing. Now in this section, we'll be talking about row span. We're talking about padding. We'll be talking about border spacing, and we're talking about the zebra color, the zebra styling. So first and foremost, change the background color now. When we're talking about column span, they will collapse them two columns together. We use the feature co-span. As you can see here, we use the feature co-span to be two. Now, in row span, we are still going to do that. Now, for example, we are going to collapse two. I'm going to say ch row span is equal to, which is 2. Then notice that in column span, everything was written all together. We didn't have to break them one after the other. But in row span, I'm going to break it together since we are talking about row. So since I'm adding two additional rows to it, I'll just come down here, open with TR, and I'll say close with TR. And with the row, let's call the first data. We'll call the first data, let's call the first data white, pink. Then I'll close that. And the other one, I'll say CD west down. Then I would close that. So then you see that the row is also what closed. So I'll save now. So immediately I save, then I'll refresh. So as you can see now that the two rows, they are collapsed. So you now have a name. A name has uh, two rows in it. The name header has two rows in it, all to combine together. Just the same way we have the name here, we have two columns combined together. So now we have the name and we have two rows combined together for the name. So that's how you combine two rows together. So that being said, now you can decide, okay, now we are going to talk about the border spacing. So if you want to space the border, you can't use the border collapse feature. So I'm just going to remove that. Then I'll say border spacing. Let's say the border spacing, I'll use 20 pixel. Now close it there. Then you will notice now that the border, you can see that it's spaced. Each of the border, they are spaced from each other. So if this is the feature which you want, you can decide to do that. So that's for border spacing. Let's say we want to talk about padding. Now, let's say, for example, I want to pad the TH, the CD. I'll just write there. Sorry, the curly brackets. Let me just copy this. I'm going to open your curly bracket here. then you close your curly brackets. So let me just copy it to now. So the padding, let's say the padding, I'm going to use 40 pixels. Then I would say padding is just spaces around the header of the data, whichever you want to do. So when I say now, you're going to see that there's a space in between. So you can decide to say, oh, the space is too much. I want to reduce that for the head to the top, padding left, and like that. So if you are reducing for the different, you are reducing for the different um, places. You say top, padding top. You can decide to say 12 pixel. Padding left, you can decide to say you want to use 20 pixel. So padding right, you might decide to say you want to use 18 pixel. So I'm just trying to tell you how it works. Padding bottom. You can decide to say you want to use 15 pixel. So when you save that, you see now that you have a different spacing from the top, the right, the left, and the bottom. So if that's what you want, you can go ahead and do that. So that's for that. So I'm just going to take this border space. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to go back to the border collapse which I used initially so that you can see what I'm about to do. So then when you save that, it's going to go back to the normal collapse that we did before. So now the last thing that we are going to talk about now is um, the zebra styling. So I'll come here. For example, I'm styling just the TRO, TRO, use ends, child, even. So this end child simply means that it's taking the point from whatever position you want. If you want it to be from the even numbers are from two. That's it's going to start from the second row. That means even 2, 4, 6, 8. So if you are using odd, it starts from 1, 2, 3 like that. So end child even. Then I'll put my curly brackets, the background color. See the background color I'm using. Let's say I'm using red. Red. Okay. So I'll save. So maybe I save. You are going to see it. You can see now that it's taking another shape. Let's say now I want to take the odd color, the ends. So it's just for me. I'm just going to copy this. Going to copy this now, and I'll just change the even to odd. So let's say I'm copying this one, put it there. Then I'm changing this one now to odd, odd. So I'm changing the color. So let's say the color to blue. So you see, so you can see now that it has a different color at the top. It has a different color. So for every even, it should take the color was red, and for every odd, it's going to take the color as what as blue. So now let's say, for example, we want to do that to the table header, the table head. So let's just use instead of red, let's use pink. So I'll save. You can see now that it's just the heading alone. And you can see here is what um blue. We're talking about the head, so you can see that the head is what blue. Child, the odd is what the odd is blue, while the even. So here we just have everything, all we have just the column here. The heading here is affecting just the heading. So you can see here is what uh, the color, which what color do we choose? What pink. So the even is what pink. The second one is what pink. So if you want that to be on the data, you can just change this to data and data. So that one was just the heading alone. So when you see, you are going to see it now on the data. So it's not affecting the heading. So you can add the heading and the data together to give you a zebra coloration. So that's basically everything that has to do with what tables. So if this has been very, very helpful to you, you learned one or two things in this tutorial, please kindly share, subscribe, and also give us turn on the notification button so that you will be notified when we upload other educational videos just like this. Thanks for joining us.